Good morning guys, welcome along, I hope you're all well. Today I'm on a scout among the hills and low-lying forest looking for possible bug-out positions. As you know, I have great difficulty sleeping rough overnight due to my breathing difficulties, but it doesn't hold me back too much, but it means carrying with me some really heavy breathing equipment and all-night battery. So day trips and day camping are much easier, so I hope you can bear with me. So I'm going to have a good look up this southern Scotland range of hills and go up into the valley and check out a rather interesting pool hidden in a fairly low and remote corner of the countryside. So I don't think many people know it's there. It's taken me a few years to realise it is, and so I'm going to try and cut my way through the very wet undergrowth and get to that position sometime today. Why don't you join me? One of the nice things about scouting is you don't know what you're going to find, and if you give yourself enough time of a day to get out and do the business, then you can really enjoy your own pace. Of course, option 2, guys, is to have a cover for your Berrigan, which I have, 2 sizes for the patrol and for the large Berrigan, which is really good quality gear as well. Proper cover, army cover for your Berrigan. The other one is that if you use your Gore-Tex army jacket and your army Gore-Tex matching trousers, DPM, you're really well covered. But I hate wearing leggings, and like a lot of people, waterproof trousers, the condensation is just about as bad as the weather. But you know, in severe rain, to keep warm rather, and not get damp chill on the lower limbs, yeah, you have to wear them. And then when you strip off at camp, it's easy enough. Change into a prized dry bit of kit. But hey, we like to rough it. I'm sure you guys like to see me roughing it as well. Those of you who follow me on YouTube, I have to say I'm really grateful to you all, 1,500. But be honest with you, some of my movies are silent, I don't talk. Other movies I make are non-stop dialogue like today. But it just goes to show that it's okay to be quiet and say little or nothing if you just keep your frames and your edits short and interesting. The visuals are self-explanatory, but it's sometimes nice to bring you along for company and have a good chat, don't you think? Yeah, the weather's moving in. I don't know if you can see this or not, but there's a rather large dry stone dike, square shape, quite a small enclosure really, on a slope. Now at one time this hill would have been grazed heavily by sheep. There'd be probably no ferns, it'd be all grass, and that pen would have been used to round them up and start preparing them for whatever they had to do, whether it was to get the tups to do their business and then release them again into the hills, or whether it's to gather them up ready to herd them to market, or have them inoculated, clipped or dipped. I mean, it's quite a full-on business running sheep, and that's why a lot of these hillsides now are forested, because sheep farming is relatively risky and sometimes quite low profit. Believe it or not, guys, I'm standing beneath a juniper tree. Look at that distinctive bark, white coloured bark with lots of pits in it, or acne if you like. All the trees in this forest are indigenous to Scotland. What a beautiful woodland this is, isn't it? Of course, one of the golden rules of bushcrafting, stealth camping and secret bug out activity is never to reveal anything about your locations to anyone. Even a close friend might tell someone else. But then, at the end of the day, we can't live utterly selfish lives, but there are some things we do have to keep close to our chest, and that's those special places that have taken us maybe decades to discover. I know I'm getting close, guys, because the water volume has stopped just under this steep gully. So that's where the pool is. So now I'm going to find a way of cutting down without falling down into the river and having to call out an RAF Sea King helicopter rescue. So we're going to take it easy and go above stream and then cut back on the tourist route, so to speak. Stand by. Well, that was a fairly tough descent, guys. A very steep gully, but I made it without tumble. And I think I found part of the pool I was looking for. Not very impressive, but I'll let you see it anyhow. I think the larger pool is further downstream, and from what I can see, it's a little bit wider, maybe 4 times wider. But it's just a rapid of water, so from the sat-nav and from the maps it did look like a fairly sizable pool, but I don't think that's what it is in reality. So keep on pushing and try and find it. Yeah, if you like sharing the night with bugs and adders and slow worms and whatever else, beetles, this is a really great option for the bivvy bug out under tarp and poles, but you'd have to do a little bit prep on the ground to make it comfortable. But yeah, quite a nice place this is. The good thing about coming to out of the way places that are pretty inaccessible is you're almost guaranteed to get the area to yourself. Because nobody can be bothered to go to all the trouble that you might do, and that's the payoff. So I'm getting closer to my pool now. As you can see, at the moment it just looks like a wide section in the river, and it was quite a steep bank that I had to avoid tumbling down. Stand by. So my pool doesn't exist on the sat-nav, on Google Earth and on the map. It's just a wide area of water. So that's fine. Mission accomplished. So today's scran is noodles and pork and ham in a tin. But so today is a big nosh. The rain has finally gone off. and rather damp. I wouldn't want to be in this condition in cold weather. Thankfully there's very little wind and it's not that cold. So I'm going to enjoy this. I've worked for it. It's been tough and arduous, and while I'm waiting for the brew to boil, I just wanted to give you a kind of history lesson. Stand by. I mentioned earlier a sheepfold on the other hill over there, and I'm standing in a circular sheepfold which is probably about 1750 or 1800 it was built. An old circular sheep pen, and this is the entrance to it. Imagine the thousands or millions of sheep that have been driven along this wall and up into this pen. It's made of dry chain dyke. So this is now void of sheep, this beautiful valley, but just imagine how it might have been back in the day. At the end of the last ice age, the valley would have been a bare, stony wasteland. It took hundreds of years for the woodland to develop, with different tree species growing in the places where the soil and climate suited them best. If you'd walked through this valley 6,000 years ago, you would have passed through boggy sands of elm and alder, and the valley bottom glazed of oak and hazel at this level, and open scrub on the higher altitude of the slopes. So the theory about using the plastic cup with the noodles as like a soup and a stew and a meat all together was to avoid having a dirty, mucky mug. But then I'm going to make coffee in a minute, so the coffee will have to go in here as well, I guess. So it's just utilising a very cheap recipe, ready-made, with no fuss. Success. Very successful. The first people to explore the valley would have lived in small nomadic groups, hunting for their food and moving from place to place with the seasons. These hunter-gatherers probably had little impact on the landscape, but later farmers certainly did. They cut down trees for building and burnt clearing for their cattle and sheep and goats to graze. They also hunted predators such as bears, wolves and lynx and threatened their flocks. Eaten by both deer and domestic flocks, young trees would have had little chance to get established. Without this new growth, the woodland shrank to isolated patches on the crags or steep burn sides the browsing animals could reach. On these hills in this area, wild goats still exist in quite substantial flocks moving around at altitude, grazing through the summer.